property is known as 52 Lawrence Place, and PIN number is 9649566495. For further information, you can contact Daniel. I'm going to have to ask you how to pronounce your last name again. Fleer. I'm sorry. I will get that eventually. Daniel Fleer, Urban Planner 1 for the city of Asheville. And Daniel will be presenting the case this afternoon, or this morning.
Yeah. How about that? All right. So this is a variance to a section we've all become very familiar with. This is a variance to the setback requirements for accessory structures, specifically accessory dwelling units. That is 714.1, section A1. And just to give you some background here, the property owners, Scott and Amy Willis, are requesting a variance to the setback standards in section 714.1A1, accessory uses and structures of the UDO, seeking relief from required setbacks for the rear and actually also the side property lines of 6 feet for an existing non-conforming garage structure to be converted into an ADU. The existing structure is considered non-conforming as it abuts the side and rear property lines. And just in chart form, we have that accessory structure that's right up on that property line, and so we need 100% variance for that. And just a note here, as we'll see later on, there is a slight addition to the structure that they're hoping to achieve variance for as well, but it'll all be under one variance. Just to give you some area context, this is 52 Lawrence Place. That's in North Asheville. That green blob you see to the north of the structure is going to be the Grove Park Golf Course. So it is in that E.W. Grove neighborhood, just off the corner with Evelyn Place. And again, a little bit closer, this is RS4 residential single family medium density. And here we have the actual survey for the property. You see the rectangle I have outlined in red. That is the existing garage. It is just shy of 20 by 40. So it's a total square footage of about 760 square feet. And that is going to be at 2 floors. So that footprint doubled. And then over that concrete portion by the southeast of the structure, they're hoping to put a patio roof that continues that roof line on a 12 to 5 slope, about 22.5 degrees. And speaking of slope, the average slope of this property is 17%, but it is not in a steep slope zone, so that is not relevant to this case. Just some quick details. This carriage house garage structure would be accessed, or is already accessed, by an easement to the north of the property that runs through that property to the north of it, which is just a driveway accessing Evelyn Place. And then here are some site photos. We have the view from the front of the property and the rear of the property. This rear being Catherine Place, you can kind of see through the trees that garage structure. And then in the front, I squared that part of the home that is blocking this carriage house from being viewed at all from the front of the property. And here we have just more details on that driveway from Evelyn Place. You can get some snippets of that garage structure in the background there. And then relevant to this case, there's a retaining wall that runs just along that property line with the adjacent neighbor. It's about 4 feet when it touches, or when it gets close to that garage. And just another note, this is marked on the survey, but the adjacent neighbor owners have a 10-foot access easement for this retaining wall onto 52 Lawrence Place, which is the subject property. And then we have a couple more views from the west and from the east. You can see that garage door at the bottom of the structure, and then the topography going up towards that, what the owners call the main floor, but the top floor. Either way you want to consider. And then that little patio area where you see a heater and a bench just to the left of that structure. And just to walk you through this report. These are details that Suzanne already mentioned. We've already gone through that. So I'm just going to read through this full background. The subject property is a 0.35 acre residential lot currently zoned RS4, residential single-family medium density district. It is surrounded by residential lots that are all RS4 as well, and they all contain a single-family home. A couple of the properties have additions in various ways. The lot to the south contains a deck extending in the direction of the subject property, while the lot to the east contains a small accessory garage structure. The lot to the north does not have much of anything, but the existing primary structure on the subject property is a 1.5-story conventional home with a footprint of approximately 3,500 square feet, built in 1917, which is also when this non-conforming accessory structure was built. And again, that structure has a footprint of about 760 square feet. And they are seeking to change the use of the existing non-conforming garage structure to an accessory dwelling unit and add a covering over the approximately 90 square foot patio adjoining the structure. The applicant is seeking a variance from the members of the Board of Adjustment in order to complete these items, with review, analysis, and considerations being the minimum setbacks for an accessory garage structure in all residential districts is 6 feet from the side and 6 feet from the rear. The existing garage structure abuts the side and rear property boundaries. The proposed ADU would use the existing footprint and foundation materials, excluding that 90 square foot patio covering, and the proposed ADU would adhere to all other development standards within the UDO. And this is just talking through the necessary findings for such a variance. One, that a necessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. Two, the hardship results from the conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Three, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. And four, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. And so again, I have us here at that survey. If you need me to take us to any other details, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I will open the floor for questions at this time.
Does anyone have any questions for Daniel? I had a question. So we
Sure.
are including the 90 square feet for the covered patio?
It would all be considered one variance because it shares a roof line with the ADU. So you can exclude the patio covering from the variance if you choose, but it will just be one variance that's granted.
Right, but we just don't have a document showing where that is. Is that at the concrete slab that
Yes,
used to be on the side?
it covers that 90 square foot concrete slab.
So is there, I'm looking at the access, what does this say? Is it 10-foot wall access easement?
That's what I was mentioning, just with the
That was
retaining wall.
access easement. Is there any issue with building an additional structure inside of that access easement? Can you be aware of?
I don't believe so. That's really just an allowance for the adjacent property owners to access this lot for maintenance of that retaining wall.
Does anyone else have additional questions?
Yeah.
Yes. go ahead.
So just to be clear, they're planning on tearing down the existing 1917 structure down and reusing foundations, and then, I would presume, enhance those foundations as necessary. It's just not real clear.
Yeah, so they are using the existing structure. They're not tearing anything down. They just require a variance to finish the upper floor of that garage structure to meet our standards for an ADU, so a bed, a kitchen, a bathroom, things of that nature. But there's going to be no demolition except maybe some minor interior demolition on that second floor just to make it livable.
So that was a pretty confusing. Was this second one?
Sure. You can see on this left image, you see there's a garage on that base floor, And then we have 760 square foot floor above that. And that is what is going to be the ADU. That is what this variance is addressing.
So there's no tearing down.
There's no tearing down, correct.
Any other questions for Daniel? Is the applicant here?
No. The applicant was the architect on this project, and unfortunately, they are out of town at the moment.
Okay, so we don't have the opportunity to ask the applicant any questions either. All right, is anyone from the public here that would like to give expert testimony or testimony from residents withstanding? Seeing as there are none, is there any discussion, or does anyone want to make a motion? Okay, may I get a second? You get a second, great. Board members, when I say your name, please say aye or nay. Elliot Smith?
Aye.
Annette Wise? Aye. John Michael Cletus?
Aye.
Michael Ciano?
Aye.
And Suzanne Godsey is an aye. And we will look forward to when the UDO gets revised and we do not have these variances coming before us.
Staff most certainly concurs with you.
I
That's our response. We're getting tired of writing the
recognize
memos as well.
We have other fish to fry, but we are wasting quite a bit of time and money on applicants' parts for this.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to share with me the next one is the applicant Joseph Fitzgerald?
Yes, so this is one where there will actually have to be 7 distinct motions because there are 7 different agendized items. There is 1 Swan Street, 32 Hendersonville Road, 14, 22, 26, and 30, so I guess 6, excuse me. They are all being continued until the March 24 agenda. There is, as of right now, as we all know, what we've learned this month is that agendas can change often and quickly. I thank you for your patience with all of that, Madam Chair, members of the board. But as of right now, we are going to be having that meeting at a regular time, so that will still start at 2. Flood variances really aren't that unique or distinct from each other. Again, they are all substantially damaged. What they need is the flood variance to go beyond that without having to meet the letter of the law for flood proofing. They have to meet the spirit. They have to show that they're elevating all these other things. And the applicant just needs more time to answer questions that our historic preservation planner, Alex Cole, had concerning certificates of appropriateness and the historic nature, and then just get us some more information about how they will, again, meet the spirit of the law with flood proofing using gypsum board instead of drywall, these sort of things that are the ways where you can still flood proof even if you can't raise the entire building 14 feet. So all of these will be, we are asking that they be continued, we are asking that they be continued to March 24th, and since they are all distinct agenda items, they need a distinct vote.
Okay, great. And will Ms. Cole be here for our next
Mhm.
meeting?
Yeah,
To take
yeah.
questions? Okay, great.
Since no one is here and no one is ready, I told them to not drive in from Brevard, that we would just be continuing today, but we will have the floodplain administrator, we will have the historic preservation planner, we'll have the applicants and full cavalry.
Great, okay, thank you. Okay, so we, go ahead.
Do we need a motion to?
Yes. so
Yes,
we're
you will
gonna
need-
go
yeah, you're
make
gonna
a
need 6 of
motion
them.
For all 6 of these individually, so can I get a motion to continue the 1 Swan Street flood variance application to the March 24th Board Adjustment meeting?
Motion.
May I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Board members, when I say your name, please say aye or nay. Elliot Smith?
Aye.
Annette Wise?
Aye.
John Michael Cletus?
Aye.
Mike Luciano?
Aye.
Suzanne Godsey is an aye. Okay. Now for the 32 Hendersonville Road, can I get a motion to continue that to the March 24th, 2025 Board of Adjustment meeting?
Motion to continue. Second.
Great. Please say your name. Please say aye or nay. Elliot Smith?
Aye.
Annette Wise?
Aye.
John Michael Cletus?
Aye.
Mike Luciano?
Aye.
Suzanne Godsey is an aye. Continue that one. 14 Lodge Street, may I get a motion to continue that to March 24th, 2025?
Motion to continue. Second.
All right. And again, Elliot Smith,
Aye.
Matt Wise, John Michael Cletus.
Aye.
Michael Giano.
Aye.
Suzanne Godsey is an aye. Now we'll move on to 22 Lodge Street. May I get a motion to continue that to the March 24th, 2025?
Motion to continue. Second.
When I say your name, please do as you will. Elliot Smith.
Aye.
Annette Wise.
Aye.
John Michael Cletus.
Aye.
Michael Giano.
Aye.
And Suzanne Godsey is an aye. 26 Lodge Street. Motion to continue to March 24th, 2025.
I motion to continue. Second.
Elliot Smith.
Aye.
Annette Wise.
Aye.
John Michael Cletus.
Aye.
Michael Giano.
Aye.
Suzanne Godsey is an aye. The last one, 30 Lodge Street. May I get a motion to continue that to the March 24th, 2025 Board of Adjustment meeting?
I motion to continue. Second.
Great. When I say your name, please say aye or nay. Elliot Smith.
Aye.
Annette Wise.
Aye.
John Michael Cletus.
Aye.
Michael Giano.
Aye.
And Suzanne Godsey is an aye. Okay, so if there are no objections, do you need to say?
Yeah, before we adjourn anything, and again, there have been some changes here, the next matter, there is an appeal that will have to be heard. I will let Eric speak to this. Staff and the applicant are in substantial agreement. This is a procedural matter, and Eric can follow up on what happens next, but there is not, I just wanted to stop and interject, if I may, because I know that I think on the chair script, the next was dismissal and the end of the meeting, but that is actually not the end of the meeting. I'll let Eric say what comes next.
So two updates. The first appeal you have on there was an appeal from a bunch of NOVs for short-term rental usage at the same property, 17 North Market Street. The appellant has given us new information that suggests that the timing of their original development applications gives them a vested right to that use, and so there's no need for a continued enforcement action. Gone. The NOVs are rescinded, so that you don't need to take any action on that. On two, this is from what was a alternate measure that the property owner was taking, which was to submit a hotel redevelopment application for the property. That is likely rendered moot because of the same dynamic that I just described. They have a vested right to continue that use. There's no need to change the zoning for it. The applicant wants to wait until they know whether anybody's going to appeal from the vested rights determination to officially withdraw that hotel application. And so for that reason, what we're suggesting to do is to just stay that matter until we know whether it really was rendered moot or if it needs to come back to be heard. But we don't want to take up your time with it now when it seems like it probably doesn't need hearing. So what we've done is prepared a order that just stays that proceeding until either the developer or property owner gives you notice that they are in fact dismissing their appeal because it's moot, or until we determine that we really do need to hear it, then we'll come back and put it back on the agenda.
So is that something that I just need to sign? We don't need to make any motion for that?
That's it would probably be procedurally best to go ahead and have a motion to stay those proceedings consistent with the terms that I just described, and then vote on it, and then as chair, you would sign off on the order staying.
Okay. So may I get a motion to stay the case under the grounds that Mr. Edgerton just described?
Yeah. I motion. Continue.
May I get a second?
Second.
Great. Roll call vote?
We do an acclamation.
Okay, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So we will wait and see what happens with that one. Is there any other business from staff?
No other business as of right now. The March 24th meeting is planned to start at 2 p.m. So there will be, again, subject to change, but as of right now, we are going off the assumption that this will be 2 p.m. So some of these flood variances, because they're the same applicant and sort of the same request in the same area, should be a little bit quicker. And there are no appeals at this time, so we will start at 2 p.m. like any other regular meeting.
Has there been any conversation with staff about doing a blanket variance for Biltmore Village in and of itself as the unique circumstances surrounding that, or?
There have been discussions about ways in which we condition that entire properties can meet whatever Alex has discussed and some of these other things, but there has been staff discussion with legal, and there are concerns for enforceability and for health, safety, and wellness, which is the foundation of all that planning does if we just do a blanket variance. And the flood variance is such that, you know, if your building is substantially damaged, what you are doing is you are asking to come back to rebuild it to the standard to which it was before the storm, what it was like exactly on September 26th. Of course, there are going to be people who are going to be doing a whole lot of other things, and we being planning, site development, engineering, and the building have found that a number of individuals are already looking to put in more things, things that would increase and change the nature of the property well beyond what it was before the storm. So there does need to be some method of control to make sure that there aren't any manner of surprises for the building, for the historic nature, and for the safety as well.